Thank you, everyone, for joining today's AMA. For those who don't know, Nxt.com is registered in Seychelles and has been serving users since 2018. The company is here to provide new trading opportunities to users all over the world. My name is William, and I'll be your host for today's AMA. I'll be speaking with NXT Technologies today. Guest speakers are Rondell Fletcher, CEO of NXT Technologies, and Bradley Kitzel, CEO. Thank you very much for joining today.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate the time.
Pleasure is ours. And Bradley, are you there? Can you
Yeah,
hear
can you
us?
guys hear me?
Awesome, wonderful. Thank you very much for
Great.
joining.
It's a pleasure to
So,
be here.
yeah, my pleasure. I know you guys been in this the Web3 space for a while, but for those who don't know, could you kindly introduce yourselves, tell them about a little bit of yourself, how you guys got into the Web3 development space?
Definitely, definitely. So my name is Rondell Fletcher. Um, been a serial entrepreneur for 20 plus years. Um, my background is television engineering, television production, media, broadcast, and I own and operated two or three television studios in Los Angeles. In doing that, I ran across high tech and crypto and blockchain and Web3. Started investing very serious, I guess, 2015, 16, 17, and went through those tough times, those markets that were sometimes good, sometimes bad, and we're all in kind of in one right now. And in doing that, I started investing in the blue chips and the small caps. I ran into a project that my COO had developed with some of his friends and partners, and Bradley and I really clicked. And as I was investing, we started talking about the voids in the space. What can some of these projects use that can stop them from imploding? So while we did that, Bradley and I figured out, let's do something different and better for our communities and for the actual blockchain and crypto space. Um, but that's kind of how I met him. That's a little bit of my background, but I'm going to pass it to Bradley so he can give you an in-depth, kind of opening of his background.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, thank you, Rondell. And I'm a little sick right now. I actually have COVID, so sorry for my voice.
All
But
good.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to be here. And again, thank you for everyone here to just listen to us speak. It's roughly 2 a.m. where I am right now, but that's okay. I'm excited to get everyone up to date on what's going on in the NXT Technologies world. Yeah, so I'm Bradley. I'm the COO. I'm like operations and stuff like that, but I'm an electrical engineer by trade. Actually, just recently, I was finishing my master's degree, and since I was doing such technical work for the university, they decided that that they wanted to offer me an accelerated PhD. So I'd only have to stay back for one more year, and I would get an accelerated PhD, which is like insane. Everyone else in the lab, all the PhDs, they've been there for a long time, and they were all jealous. But I didn't think twice. I knew that NXT Technologies was just that big of a project and that big of an opportunity, and I believed in this project so much that I just threw that out the window instantly. That it wasn't even a question in my mind. Like that's just how much I believe in NXT Technologies. So what I do for NXT Technologies is you have Rondell, who's this brick and mortar business, essentially mogul from Los Angeles with all these very successful, not real world businesses, but I don't want to say real world because crypto is also real world, but brick and mortar type businesses with revenue models left, right, and center. And then you got Dave, who's our CTO, who sometimes he speaks in machine language, like ones and zeros binary, and you can't really understand them. So I would put myself in like the middle of that, so I can understand, since I minored in entrepreneurship and I've made a bunch of businesses prior to this, that I know a bunch of business, and since I have a technical background, I know a bunch of the tech, but I'm not as well versed in the business as Rodell, and I'm not as well versed in the tech as Dave. But I could bridge. I could be the gap between the two. So if Rondell doesn't understand something that's tech, I could come in and kind of put it into more terms that Rondell would understand, and vice versa. When Rondell's talk about revenue streams and off-chain revenue models, then I can put it in terms that David would understand. But I could go on about the team and everything about what we do, but I would love to just talk about what NXT technology is about. So I'll hand the mic back to you and we can proceed.
Yeah, thanks for making time today, especially in your specific situation.
And he just got off a flight a little while ago. Yeah, well, yesterday, right? Yeah.
Oh,
we had
good
our
to
we
hear,
had our
Yeah.
Josh.
we had our team meeting, our year-end team meeting this week.
Well, it's that time of the year, right?
Yeah,
Everyone's getting their
yeah,
flu shot and hope all for the best.
for
Yeah,
sure.
but thank you very much for the introduction, guys. Like to move on, just kind of like hear about your new NXT technology and your new project about it. Could you guys kindly tell us like what kind of problem it's the project seeks to solve, what kind
Yep.
of project it is, like who you guys trying to
Perfect.
was it for? Who's it for?
Yes. Yes. So perfect question. And I guess William and I was discussing this before the AMA, but basically what we Brad, myself, and Dave, we've been in many projects in crypto, blue chips, Web3 projects, layer ones, and we saw there was voids in the space. The void that I saw was um, when you have blockchain technology and you're a small business or you are a mid-level business and you're not making the revenues like an IBM or a Walmart or a BP, these big conglomerate organizations that have 50, 100 engineers working solely for their project and to deliver blockchain technology for their resources. We saw that there was a void there. There's thousands and thousands of companies in America, let alone the world, that need blockchain technology but that are afraid of it. Because how do I go to the neighbor next to me that owns this company that has 100 employees, maybe a $25 million revenue model, but they're afraid to touch crypto or Web3 or blockchain technology because the barrier of entry is enormous. So what we've tried to do is take NXT technologies, create a layer one permission blockchain, and give the opportunity for the average Joe or the average entrepreneur that is excited about the technology, but is not excited about the barrier of entry. Brad and I talk all the time about how everybody in this on this chat right now can go to PancakeSwap and buy a product, or you can go to Uniswap and buy a product. But if I go to an entrepreneur that's been had his business for 20, 25 years and has no way or no know-how on how to even walk through the door without getting scammed, or where's the transparency, or if I'm paying someone something, how do I know if that person's even real? So this is a gap that we're trying to close. We're trying to create a project that has transparency, that is that's gonna give the entrepreneur something that they can actually hold on to and not be afraid that, oh man, I invested in this and they're supposed to develop this and it's not there. So that's kind of why we went after the permissioned layer one. We wanted to have a project where if you're a developer and you want to develop on our chain, we invite you. But you can't just develop and not KYC, not docs, and be reckless. We want projects that are sustainable. So if you build on my layer one, I want you to have a business that is 2 to 5 years in business. You have a revenue model where you don't create a token and go out and do this ICO and dump on our brand, on my layer one, and on your project, and then have next chain saying what happened here. So those are parameters that we're putting in place to stop. Brad can go into more of the technical reasoning and our proof of authority and kind of why we went the technical aspect with Hyperledger Bezo.
Yeah. Thank you, Ron. That overview, every time I hear it, I just get more excited about onboarding new projects onto our platform. But, just as a kind of summary of what we actually entail to be is we're a layer one permission protocol. So like Ethereum, like all those permission ones, Avalanche, Cardano, but we are permissioned, whereas they are permissionless. So a quick example of like what makes us permissioned is to even come onto our platform, you have to be a developer. You have to be KYC vetted and linked to an address. So now that has accountability, right? A lot of stuff that we can delve into further into this AMA. But just as an overview, so we're a layer one permission protocol, And what really makes us unique is this global decentralized node validator ecosystem of our flagship product, which is the Nxt validator node, globally dispersed around the whole globe. We aim for 25,000 out there, but this is the heart and soul of our project, right? Because we're able to allocate a specific amount of nodes to specific enterprise projects that are coming onto our platform. And again, these nodes, every user that has these nodes, you'll be earning passive income, a minimum of 10% APR. The first year, you'll get a certain amount of tokens allocated to you, linear vested over the course of a year. Right now, the private sale is 15 tokens, but since we launched and we went up on XT, now it's only 10 tokens, and it'll just vary. It'll probably keep going down the amount of tokens you get over the year. But yeah, so again, we're a permission 1 layer protocol that's specifically designed for enterprise integration. And the heart and soul of our project is the Nxt validator node ecosystem that's globally dispersed. And yeah, I'll hand the mic back to the host. If he has any more questions, I'll be happy to delve in deeper.
You guys mentioned some really interesting concept of your layer 1. So like KYC, the first thing that popped in my head was, well, wouldn't that mean that you're basically rug pull free?
Exactly. And that's the thing. So I've invested in many projects, and from 2017, I could show you all of them, and I'm down 90% on every single one. Here's the issue that Brad and I and the team has seen. What we've seen with most of these projects is everybody says this is a nice concept, this is a cool idea. All right, let's take the idea and let's tokenize it. We come out with a certain amount of tokens. First things first, give the team a certain amount of tokens so that the team all has their allocations. Pay partnerships with tokens, pay market making with tokens, pay listings with tokens. So when you do all that, what happens to the community? Every single project I've been in, and I wasn't a dev, I was an investor. I came in excited about the project. You go and you invest in it, and all of a sudden the project just starts tanking and tanking and tanking because you have this internal system that's broken. What we want to do is we want to do the reverse. I told my team, look guys, we're going to prepay for everything up front, off-chain. Create off-chain revenue models, create off-chain ideas where that can support our on-chain business. Because 99% of the projects out here, they have this amazing multi-billion-dollar ecosystem, but they have no revenue. So they keep bleeding themselves dry by doing token sales or whatever they can do, and it's just hemorrhaging the project. I wanted to come out with something clean. When we list on XT, I don't want thousands of people selling tokens. That didn't happen because we had a private sale at 50 cents, and our list price was 50 cents. And we did that purposely so that there was no sell pressure. So that's kind of the forward thinking we're thinking about in with this blockchain. We want to make something that's sustainable. Our node is a 10-year license. I'm not in here for 6 months to 2 years to 5 years. Just the node license is 10 years. Our tokenomics plays out for years. So we don't want to be that one project that comes out that has the hype, the marketing, news articles, and everything, and then fizzles away. I want to make a sustainable blockchain business, and that's what NXT Technologies is.
Yeah,
you make a really good point. Oh, sorry, Bradley, go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, just to kind of interrupt, I remember when Ron told me about the off-chain idea. We're bringing revenue in off-chain, and it just blew my mind because no one was really doing it. And we're able to bring in essentially guarantee a healthy and stable token health because no whales from the team are just dumping. But I guess to kind of like elaborate a little bit more onto what Ron is saying and kind of know what the vision of NXT Technologies is, our vision as a company is we wanted to create a safe haven for both investors and entrepreneurs. So when you look into the crypto industry right now, it's not getting mass adopted. When you look into, an average person that's walking by the street, if you ask them, what do you think of crypto? They'll generally say, oh, it's a scam. You go in there, you lose your money, everything's volatile, blah, 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 right? Because the problem with, the Ethereum and the permissionless protocols is you throw your money somewhere and no one's held accountable, right? There's rug pulls left, right, and center. I'm pretty sure there's 30 billion in hacks lost in the past couple of years just on Ethereum, and it's really not good. And we noticed this, and we knew that it was a very big issue. So so again, we wanted to create a safe haven for both investors and entrepreneurs. From an investor point of view, an investor will come in and invest in a project, obviously, but they'll know for a fact that that person that's developing these projects on our platform has been KYC vetted and linked to an address. So the first layer of security is coming to the NXT team with your project, and we say, okay, we look at this person as a real life person, and we say, okay, this guy's good. He wants to make this project that's sustainable. We like the project. All right, build it on our platform. And we're able to give them resources, right? We have a lot of resources that we're able to help them with. And not to mention your project just coming onto our platform, since the investors will already know that they've been KYC vetted and linked to an address, and that our team has already done vetting on the project itself, will already give them inherently on our platform like a bootstrap kind of, right? So now let's say this project launches on our platform and they do end up doing something dishonest or scamming or rug pulling. Now this person gets linked to an address and they're held accountable for compliances that are actually within countries and regulations itself. And that's all great for investors, right? Everyone gets excited when we start explaining about this from an investor point of view. But our real bread and butter is for the enterprise integration. And these accountabilities and these compliances are actually, like, they're not just cool to have and good to have. That we found out that they're actually required. See, as it's like mentioned in our white paper, there's data securities acts, there's privacy problems with actual enterprise integration. Their system of record, you can't just rewrite their whole database system. You got to use what they have and integrate the blockchain within that, or else it's unfeasible for them to make the transition. And all these little things that our permission network, all these little features that our permission network was designed to entail, because we had Ron, who knows how to do the business, and we know Dave can implement that actually specifically into our blockchain architecture. So just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on the enterprises, an enterprise entering into the blockchain industry is hit in the face with learn what an address is, learn what a public key is, learn what a private key is, learn what MetaMask is, learn how to connect MetaMask and to decentralized finance tools. Not to mention, go and find a developer that you actually trust to build a protocol. It's actually really, really hard to do these things. And let's say the odd chance that this enterprise ends up finding all these things. They find a developer, they learn how to use MetaMask, and they learn how to do this very quickly so that no one stole their idea in the first place. But let's say they find all that. So that's the first kind of barrier to entry. Now they're hit in the face with, let's say, okay, I want to use Ethereum, for example. Let's say they wanted a very general enterprise use case is audit logging for, let's say, medical records. So automatically you're going to have sensitive content. You're going to need your own governance structure for that. Let's say they chose Ethereum. Each validator node on Ethereum is 32 Ethereum. So for a very simple, governance structure, you're going to look at a benzene fault tolerant system is around 4 nodes. You're looking at an upfront cost of 128 Ethereum just to create a simple, very centralized network, right? And so now you're the enterprise. This may be okay for very large businesses, but for most people, it's not feasible to drop 128 Ethereum upfront. Not to mention learn how to use the ins and outs of blockchain. Rondell and I, we actually went to a few of his actual brick and mortar businesses, and they didn't even know how to make apps, let alone what a blockchain is, right? It's insane.
Yeah.
And I got excited.
I can go into that a little bit. Just the enterprise integration, and that's a very scary sentence when you talk to a businessman that has his heart and soul into his business, and a revenue model that's already, he's good. He has an accountant, he has HR directors, he's solid. But then I come in and say, hey man, have you ever tried to choose blockchain to save you money on your balance sheets or whatever? So this past week, my team flew into California, and we all sat down with one of the CEOs, a CFO, and a project manager, and we just asked them, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about blockchain. And they had no idea what blockchain even is. They understand what cryptocurrency is and what Ethereum is, but they don't know what Ethereum is. They think it's a coin. They think everything's Bitcoin. So we said, okay, tell us any of your issues that you're having. Well, he said the first thing he said is, hey, I had a billing issue where $375,000 went burned, and I'm like, holy, okay. So give me an idea of something that you'd like. He's like, well, what if we were able to create an app that my internal company can use, and maybe we have a reward system there. I said, wow, well, I could potentially make a side chain off of Next Chain and give you an app for your entire company, put you guys on a reward system for safety, for driving, for payroll, for accidents. And at the end of the year, instead of you losing $375,000 on this situation, maybe you give a reward of $25,000 to $50,000 for your entire company. So now you've combated losing the money because you didn't know where it went. If we put it on our chain, it's immutable, and we'll be able to know where everything is. And then you can have an app for your reward program that probably would not have any taxation or gas fees. It's just their own internal side chain where they don't need anything except for our validator nodes and our resources to build that side chain. And that's an example of a company that would come on board. And this is for off chain. We went to two companies. We went to a huge concrete company, and then we went to another trucking and trucking manufacturing company. Those are side chains, but I have friends that have metaverses that have spent a crazy amount of money building these metaverses on certain chains or making them multi-chain and or cross-chain. I'm sorry. What I said is, look, these are all opportunities for us. We're gonna get a metaverse that doesn't want to do gaming, that wants to say, I want to do language learning, or I want to do presentations in a certain way that generate revenue for this business or that business. So not to go on a tangent forever, but there's so many revenue models that we could bring to the forefront and create a sustainable and revenue driven layer one. And I don't see that out there.
Yeah, sorry, can I just jump in again? It gets me excited talking about all the use cases, but just to kind of summarize again on both of our thoughts, what really separates us from these enterprises going to Ethereum or going to Aptos or Cardano to actually build their platforms is this decentralized node validator ecosystem, right? Because now we get this project that wants to onboard, and we can automatically create them a side chain with not just one or two nodes, right? Like we talked to IBM and they pitched us a very good idea, blah, 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 but they have no idea what decentralization is. They made this network for the government. We asked them how many nodes they used. They said 2. We said, okay, IBM, you really don't know what the foundation of decentralization is, right? And we realize that, and we know that it's a very big issue, and we know that we want to actually keep the roots of blockchain technology, which is decentralization. So that's why we need this huge decentralized node validator ecosystem where we can allocate a specific amount of nodes to projects, and we can actually change the governance protocols of those nodes specifically tailored towards those enterprise use cases. And that's all I'm going to say for now. We can delve it deeper, but I think that's a good overview. I'll hand it back to the host here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
To go with governance. So Brad and I were discussing this last January. We're talking about, how we're going to do this and is it permission versus permissionless? Which companies should we consult with? Well, we've already started the governance process. We're already going to have these milestones that the SEC is going to hit us with soon. We've already started to work on those processes because we know it's coming. The company has 8 trademarks. We have 8 trademarks here in the United States for our next chain, our next wallet, our next deck. We have all the trademarks are in place, and we're getting a utility patent for our next validator node and our layer 1 chain. But just to go into more of the guts of the business.
Yeah, I like how you guys are preparing ahead of time, because I personally am expecting a lot of regulation coming next year in 2023. And that KYC part, that's going to be a big one. And it's going to also be a big deterrent for the layer 1 blockchain security itself. I mean, who's going to start hacking this and that smart contract when they know that everyone knows who you are? I mean, I think that's kind of like basically when people start returning the funds that they hacked, when they more or less almost found when someone figured out who they actually are in real life. So That being
And
said, yeah.
oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I do see a lot of like people getting into like learning how to code for blockchain lately, especially right now, me being in the APAC region. Um, and you mentioned how like your chain is currently permissioned and that's what we're going after. So let's just say if I was like a developer and let's just say I'm learning Solidity right now for Ethereum, because that's basically what everyone learns when you first get into this industry. What are like the advantages? Because I don't think a lot of developers understand like their choice, their option of
Yeah,
building on a permission chain after they do just a simple KYC. Do you have
yeah,
like anything you can like tell us like what are the benefits for like a developer? Because I think that like a lot of especially like big corporate entities and a lot of VC capitals, they always look at like how many developers are developing on layer one chains, and they basically compare them
yeah.
just to see like where that activity is.
So basically, of course, Dave, our CTO would vet, and then we also have Hacken. We're working on doing a partnership with Hacken. So any developer or any enterprise that comes on has to take the same security measures that we've taken on chain. And what I believe the developer is going to want to do is, I if I'm a developer, I don't want to develop something on a not so transparent process in a not so transparent process. Right now, you got developers popping up contracts and popping up meme coins hours. To me, those days are numbered. I think that all of these businesses and all these solutions in this ecosystem we call the world are going to be needing developers, good developers that have opportunities to have good careers, not just develop a meme coin in my backyard. But guess what? You could actually come on and you could come an intern with Next Chain, and we could bring you in. You could work with Dave, our CTO, and we could show you the right way to build. And maybe you can go work for Hyperledger, or maybe you can work for IBM and move up unilaterally, because no one's going to let you come test on their layer one blockchain. So we can have developers that are really interested in really moving the needle in the business rather than scamming and using their weapons for destruction. Let's use it for something good. There's big companies out here that are looking for Solidity developers. Brad has this statistic. He's an electrical engineer, so it's all statistics. He's like, Ron, there's only 25,000 Solidity developers in the world, and there's a million coders. So, oh my goodness, there's no one. So I understand that, and we all understand where the space is, but the space has to change. If you have regulation and you cannot pop a meme coin and scam everybody, well, where are we all going? It cannot be this permissionless Wild West anymore, where you put $500 in today and tomorrow you have a quarter or 25 cents USD, right? So so those are, Brad can go on into it more, but that's what I would expect from a developer building on our chain.
Yeah, Ron. Again, you always get me excited for the future of NXT. But yeah, just to kind of clarify a little bit on what I think too. I think that NXT Technologies as a company, we're more for quality over quantity. So if you want to go quantity, you can go to all those permissionless systems like Ether and Binance Smart Chain and Cardano, where it's very simple to build on them. But we want quality. So when you come onto our platform, maybe you'll be working with this major company and working to do a small task, which is taking their old system of record and linking that within our blockchain. So but the thing that separates us or is very good about our platform is we're EVM compatible. So if you know Solidity, then all those tools that you're used to with Hardhat, Brownie, whatever you're using, it'll be easy to make the switch onto our platform and just build. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you guys have like a link where like developers in training that can actually go and kind of look up the NXT chain and how they can get KYC'd?
So not partnerships yet. Right now we're building the foundation. We do have a partnership link on our website. But yeah, they can go to our partnership link, send information on who they are, what they've done. I'll pass it on to our CTO, and yeah, we're open book. We would love for people to come to our Telegram and just ask the hard questions, and how do I get involved? Or you have this project that you think is for education and you could bring it onto our platform that we think can work. We'd be excited to talk to that person.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to kind of put it out there, everyone here is super early to this project. You know, we've only been really working on it hard, actually implementing and building the foundation for around 6 months. But we've had the idea for years, right? We've always noticed this huge void in the space, and just now we started implementing. So of course we're gonna have docs that are gonna help the developers learn on the platform. We actually have it on our website. It's just not clickable yet because we haven't finished the actual docs, but we're excited. So just so everyone knows, super early to this permission one layer protocol.
Yeah, and if I can go, if you guys would, whoever's listening, if you guys would like to, come onto our website, on the front page we have our white paper there. On the right side, we actually have the audio version of our white paper. It's a 40-page white paper, but you could actually listen to it, and that's something that I thought was like, oh man, if someone doesn't want to read for a few hours, you could just hit play, go exercise, and you can listen to the white paper. Any questions you have, go to our Telegram and just ask our mods. Our mods will be there to answer any question you have. If they don't have the answer, they'll reach out to myself, Brad, or Dave.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for explaining.
Yeah.
I have another question. I just want to double check with my back end. Do we have any questions from the audience? If we do, you could post it up, ask your questions, and we'll choose whichever appropriate, whatever looks interesting. Feel free to ask your questions in the comment. If not, I'm going to continue. But that being said, so we do have a question by John Sun. Smart contracts are susceptible to failure, and many projects fall victim to this, costing users money and the project discrediting. How reliable and secure is your smart contract?
So actually, our hack and audit came back 10 out of 10 for security and 9.4 overall. So very, very, very tight. But when I talk about security, just so everyone understands, this is not the norm. This is not the normal layer one that only has an audit. I've been a part of a Certec audit, and I've been a community member and an investor, and it rugged. So for me, I'm actually taking the on-chain security measures extremely, extremely, extremely serious, but I also have off-chain. So if I can go into a little bit of a part of my team, we have an in-house accountant and we have a third-party accounting firm, Sedera Solutions, to actually watch the business. So that our team is made of about 40 people. Our core group being Brad, myself, and Dave, and then I have a creative director who's helping us with our creative direction. His name's Brian Jaramillo. We have a consulting engineer from Boeing. We have a couple graphic designers. We have a media agency. So we have a huge team. We have Octocode. It's just a full stack development firm that does AI, machine learning. They're all friends of mine for 15 years. And these guys have worked hand in hand with Dave Cote, our CTO, and created our Apple Wallet on the iOS store. We have the wallet on the Android Play Store as well. And we have so many things coming out. A couple of our mods were like, quit giving us new items and news. But I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going hard, and I'm gonna hit the finish line. I execute. That's what I do. So I'm talking to the tech teams, and I'm like, hey, this wallet should have been done yesterday. Well, then we have to wait for Apple to review it and go through the process, and I'm like, but yeah. So security is it's really, really, really critical, because I've been a part of all that nonsense as well, and I understand a smart contract that's malicious. I get that. So when we actually went to do our audit, I already knew the points that we needed to actually really concentrate on, because I've been a part of a few projects that have really rugged through their smart contracts or through bridges and things like that. So yeah, we got a 10 out of 10 for security and a 9.4 for overall.
Yeah, thank you, Rana. And just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on the software, when we knew that we wanted to create this layer one because we needed to fix the foundation of a blockchain to actually fix what's wrong with the whole industry itself, right? You need to start with the foundation, which is a blockchain. We explored Cosmos, we explored Ethereum, all these different EVM compatible machines. We went even to Cardano. But they weren't at the forefront. They're at the forefront of permissionless blockchains. But we knew that we stumbled across the Hyperledger Foundation, who industry giants who have been at the forefront of technology as a whole for decades, right? IBM, the Linux Foundation, Hyperledger. These companies know what's coming in the future, right? They know they know what regulations are going to come, and they're building this software to specifically be okay with it, and then like welcome it with arms, essentially, right? So when we were actually building our blockchain, we knew that using a blockchain that's supported by IBM, Samsung, these Intel, these major corporations, if they're supporting this software, then this is gonna be safe and reliable, and it's gonna go with future regulations. And not to mention, they're very large enterprises, and that's what we specialize in, right? We want enterprise integration. So it was just a perfect fit for us, whether it be security or whether it be our actual use case. That's why we chose that. So I just wanted to kind of elaborate that a little bit more. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much for going in depth. Yep. Thank you, John Sun, for asking the question. It seems like we got a whole bunch of other questions we can choose from. Do you guys have any specific questions you guys want to pick before I pick one myself?
Let me see.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. So, what are the requirements to build since NXT Change is permissioned? So we know one is KYC.
Yeah. So basically, and I'll go back to who will be building. We just talked about a developer coming on our project. Finding out if they can be the right partner for us. What they're actually building, and what they're building, is it sustainable? Is it robust and scalable on our chain? That's one side of building architecture on our chain. The other side is the enterprise, and the enterprise is where we're really gonna create this taxation and gas fees and new projects and a lot of new entrepreneurs in our ecosystem, because they don't know where to go right now. This world is made up of small business. So what are we going to do to adopt for them? And that's what we want to do. We want to make it easy. I want to make it easy for anyone to come on and say, look, I understand I'm not a $500 million enterprise. I'm just a little guy. I'm $25 million in revenue, and I have 18 employees, but I know I've hit a glass ceiling, and I can't do anymore. What can you guys do as a blockchain company to come into my enterprise, figure out things that I could, maybe, I don't want to say cut staff, but maybe, you don't need that many people in your HR department, or your payroll systems are janky or not working correctly. And I come in with Dave, and I'm able to talk to that CEO or COO or project manager and say, look, I understand that you don't understand what blockchain, Web3, or the nuts and bolts of the chain is, but if you can explain to me where you're having your issues in your business, I can go back and sit with Brad and Dave and say, look, just like we did with this company last week, he had issues with his invoicing, he had issues with his billing, he had issues with his fuel management, and we're like, oh my goodness, every single thing you said, we could actually add it to our chain, or we can give you a side chain and run parallel, so that he could actually have his business that doesn't consume our next chain. He has his own little private sector, but that private sector is revenue for next chain, our validator nodes, and of course you bring revenue into a ecosystem. What happens to that native token? Everybody's excited because revenue streams are coming in, and it's not being populated from our native token. Sorry,
Absolutely. No, that's all good. I don't expect every single enterprise grade company to be opening up their own layer one blockchain department.
No.
That just doesn't make sense
No.
business wise. It's not really cost effective, and then even if they try to, we're just so early down the road that there just doesn't have enough developers for them to have 50 of them running on, and for maintenance as well. So I see next.
So even the learning curve. So like Brad mentioned the learning curve a little while ago, but let's just say this enterprise doesn't want to learn. They just want to be white gloved, and they want to have 40 validator nodes that are going to run XYZ gas stations or whatever they're doing, and we allocate those 40 validator nodes to them. They pay us a rental or a leasing fee for those nodes, and in turn, it actually gives a revenue stream for our ecosystem. So now that 10% APR after your first year as a validator, those revenues are not just coming from our reward system, our tokens from our tokenomics. We're actually trying to generate revenue to refuel our tokenomics with actual, USD. So by doing that, we'll have a sustainable model. Most of the companies that are doing blockchain or these layer twos or these projects that they popped it up during the bull market and they forgot. Wait a minute, we can't sell tokens forever. We got to figure out ways to actually generate revenue for the chain to pay that engineer or to pay for our servers or pay for AWS. I mean, the expenses is insane for a layer one. There's so many things that you don't think of, that instances are costing astronomical fees. And Dave's like, "Hey, Ron, we got to add this. We got to add this. We got to add this." And I'm like, "Holy macro." So just imagine the barrier of entry for myself, Brad, and Dave, and our team it's very hard, and we really know blockchain and layer twos and Web three and metaverse. Imagine how hard it is for that entrepreneur that's been in business 25 years that doesn't even want to use a computer, but he does want to save money on his in his business or on his balance sheet, and he does want to be forward looking for technology. You don't want to be Blockbuster when everyone's telling you we're going to start streaming and you're still selling DVDs. That's something that we have to, if you don't go with the flow and see where the market and this blockchain and Web3 push is going, well then I think people are going to be left behind in Web 2.0, right? And that's something that I think, it's near and dear to my heart. I've been doing it for a long time, but a lot of these people out there that don't have the time, not the know-how, the time. They don't have the time to say I'm going to learn blockchain. So that's what I think is going to be a little bit different.
I think you make a few really good points. There's one thing that popped in my mind was just most of the people who can relate to permissioned chain is probably just traditional service companies. The big one to name is Amazon Web Service.
Yeah.
Basically, you're renting their server service, and a lot of people, they go and they learn how to operate their business with AWS. Of course, they're not using blockchain technology. Compared to NXT chain, what are the benefits of using NXT chain as, say, a service for a businessman compared to going to the traditional big Amazon giant?
So first things first, and I'm an entrepreneur. It's it's the capital infusion you need for AWS. If you don't have real capital ready to go to create what you want for your systems, on top of that, your CTO or your engineers or your coding firm, all of those expenses, a business is not ready to take on those expenses as a test pilot. I'm not going to test my company and harm my revenue model for my board of directors because I'm going to play with blockchain. So what I've done is I said, you know what, instead of us doing that, I'm going to go after first the enterprises that I'm already colleagues with or vendors that I do business with that are willing to let me come through the door because I'm already doing business with you off chain, to test and say, hey, look, I think I could save you money here. You know what, Ron? I like what you're doing. I'm going to invest in your project, in your coin. I'm going to have you do some test piloting on my own enterprise. And I started with my own company and friends of mine's companies that are pretty sizable out here in California. But once we have the secret sauce for that first pilot test, now all it does is you pass it to each and every company in that industry. It's not reinventing that wheel. It's just making it right the first time. And now I go to, Frank's tire company. And then, well, Dave and Frank's tire company have that same issue. Well, we just saved Frank over here. Let's go talk to Dave now. So that's kind of what we're trying to do on the enterprise side. And I think that once we have, the systems going and I make it easy for that entrepreneur to adopt this solution, I think it's going to be a lot faster and scalable.
Yeah, and if I could just kind of elaborate a little bit more, that was a great overview, Ron. Like, we were actually running into AWS issues just recently, and we were just like, it was just pinpointing in our brain, this is why blockchain needs to be fully adopted. But there's a few. I have a good friend that works for AWS, and I pretty much shut him up very quickly when he asked me. He tried to argue with me. There's the very obvious one where the no single entity gets to control the data that's stored on AWS, right? Or on the blockchain. Whereas on AWS, it's pretty centralized. Someone can alter data, someone can turn you off. It's obviously that comes with very diverse implications, but I think you can use your knowledge and whatever your imagination to actually come to the conclusion there. So the first point is I would say decentralization, and then after that, you're looking at I forget the exact numbers, but AWS roughly has, I think, 200 data centers out there, whereas Ethereum or Next Chain, we're aiming for 25,000. So
Yep.
when you're looking at like AWS, they had I think it was like 8 hours or not 10 hours of downtime in the past couple of years or 2 years, whereas Ethereum has zero. And and for major businesses, downtime is detrimental. Our
That's money.
RPC, yeah, our
Yeah.
RPC went down for 10 minutes. We had the whole community freaking out. What's going? We got DDoS, and it's like just little things like that. Whether there's important information that needs to be stored, and it needs to be fully decentralized to kind of ensure the robustness of the chain and the redundancy issues, right? And that's only I guess certain when it comes to blockchain, right? I guess it's immediate truth with blockchain, and it's not immediate finality, I think the term is. But yeah, so I think that's a kind of what really
And
separates us from AWS.
and yes, we are using AWS cloud service. We're that's our backup brain, but we'll have our own service system. We have the AWS as a backup, and then we have our validator nodes that are all out decentralized as well. Our nodes won't just be there and collecting dust. I'm building utilities on those nodes. So like our node is the next stream, but we're implementing the next safe, which is basically a digital SSD storage on the chain on in your next stream, where you could take your will of your grandmother, or you could take the deed of your house, digitize it, and make it an NFT. Take that USB, put it into your USB, plug it into our machine, make a UFT, pops up on our Android wallet or on your iPhone wallet. You click the NFT, and now I can see the will that is protected by my 12 word seed phrase, because no one can get into my account. So those are things that I'm trying to see or I'm trying to have forward looking. I want to say I love the NFTs. I love the board apes, and I love CryptoPunks, and that's all cool. But it's not about cool. It's about what can we do with the technology to actually make it work for us, and not just look at it. I want to take an NFT and actually make awesome business protocols for it. So that's kind of how what we've been thinking about.
I'm
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
expecting a school report cards to be NFTs sooner or later. Something
Right?
immutable.
You can't
Everything's going to be
change it.
NFTs.
You can't change it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for explaining. We have a whole bunch of other questions from the audience. Perhaps we can choose a few more. We still got some time.
Let's do it.
Hmm. Is there a specific question you guys are interested in?
Let's I see Prestige Music Academy. Can we assume all projects in your chain are safe? On your
Yeah,
chain are
so
safe.
let me just see if I can pull that up. Uh, okay, are you looking at the regular? Oh, I see it. Uh, oh, I believe he might have asked two different questions. I'm trying to find the original. If you
Okay.
could click
So
on it. Oh, yeah. If you can just click on his message, it should show up on screen so everyone could.
if I click on it,
Yeah, if you could click, or if Bradley could click on it.
I'm actually on my phone, so
Okay,
I'm
no
not
worries.
even in the
I see.
chat.
I see. Prestigious Academy. He asked this one question:
oh, I
how
just
well is coverage still until enough nodes are sold? Not sure if he had maybe asked
oh
a
yeah,
previous question.
that's fine. Wait, how well is coverage until nodes are sold? The coverage. So basically, we're not an IoT system. IoT, where you take the node and not even the node, you take the IoT device and it has coverage. There's a couple companies that I know of that have created a system like that, but I think the IoT is amazing, but I think it's a little too early.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a validator node ecosystem that is the tentacles of our layer one. The more we build out there, the more we invest into our ecosystem, into our node platform, the better our chain is, the more scalable our chain is, the more transactions we can have. And one thing I talk about all the time is I don't want to be the fastest guy. I don't want to be XRP and Cardano and fighting every day. There's so much blockchain in this world that we could go after. We can go after low hanging fruit. We don't have to be the fastest guy. We could be the guy that goes after entrepreneurs and enterprises and actually solve problems and not just create coins for no reason. That's kind of what our mission and our vision is going after that right ecosystem where everyone could say, wow, that company has really done well with blockchain technology, and look at how their nodes and the health of their nodes are working on our front end panel. And you could actually go see each company, what they're doing, how they're doing it. Of course, if they're going to have their side chain and they want to centralize for their enterprise, if it's medical billing or dentistry or something like that, of course we can showcase that. But those are the things that I'm trying to do to cover, I guess, this globe with the 25,000 validator nodes that we're aiming to deploy.
Yeah, and if I could just kind of chime in there, I believe this question is kind of asking more for, as you mentioned, the IoT and proof of coverage concept, which is not what we entail to do with the nodes. The node is just a validator. So, it's just like a normal validator that you'd run on the blockchain. I can't explain it fully right now because it's pretty in depth, but essentially you're just validating transactions. But we already have roughly 50 out there right now. So you're looking at like a quarter of what AWS has. So the redundancy is already getting there, and we haven't even left the ground. We haven't even we don't even call it that we've built our foundation yet. But yet we're already a quarter way to AWS. So I think that's kind of answers your question there.
Yeah, and when we talk about foundation and back a little bit back to that question about the nodes and then our coverage. When I look at foundation, I'm looking at this as a whole as next stream nodes, you know, wallets for both apps. The layer one, we're trying to our next decks where we could trade on an iPhone. We have maybe a trading platform on our website. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for these enterprises and other entities to jump on board. But just imagine we have our wallet, and you could see NXT being traded, and you could see the coins that NXT has in our wallet. But now we have 8 enterprises that have came on board. Well, each of those enterprises, let's say they have a token, it's tokenized, that chain they have, or that side chain. Well, you'll be able to see all those enterprises tokens on your wallet. You being a part of the NXT chain, and let's just say they have certain airdrops, or they have different types of launches, you will be the first consumers of their product, because we're going to introduce it to you. Hey, check out this project over here that's doing very well, revenue models in the high millions, and they're giving airdrops, and they have tokens and or NFT drops and things like that. So that's kind of how we can have the tentacles merging together with different businesses.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for the in-depth answer. I did find a really interesting question. This is for the little men out there, How Luke Brown asked, how will you appeal to small businesses who know very little about blockchain? How will it help their bottom line?
Yeah. So just to reiterate, the appealing of small business, the only way you can appeal to small business is being able to walk through their door and proving to them that it works, or that something works. And I've been in business for many years, brick and mortar, television facilities, and the person that I did business with came and sat me down and said, you need this printer because this is why you need it. But anyone that called me or texted me or emailed me, get out of here, I don't have time for you. But when you actually sit down with that entrepreneur and understand what their issues are, like we did last week in California, we said, the guy's like, hey man, I'm having the hardest time. I can't control my billing. My employees, the payroll is off the charts because they're driving around and they'll stop for 45 minutes and I'm still billing them on that. So Brad came up with an idea of having different type of pay schedules based on where the driver is. That's a part of an app that we've pitched them. So there's so many problems to solve in blockchain. It's just getting that entrepreneur or that enterprise or that project manager or CEO to understand that this is actually real. They got a lot of media out here where people are, shunning away. No, this is the best time to be in because we can go to the weight room and lift weights and build for a year or two, because in the bull market you can't do this. I can't sit with you in a bull market because you have 5,000 inquiries. Right now we could take our time and do it right because it's been a broken system for some time now, and hopefully we're just that one guy that could try to change what's broken in the space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, as you said, you're really correct. During the bear market, it is the best time to really get into space, ask questions,
Yep.
however stupid they are, just learn. Because like the people who do understand, they're like a small percentage of the world. And if
Hmm.
you're running a business, whether big or small, this is the time to try to figure out how this new technology can actually help your business and grow and expand easily across country, cross borders easily.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. I believe we have some time for one more question. Do you guys want
Okay.
to choose one?
Let's see what we got here. Let's see.
Something that you
Yeah,
tell the
while
viewer.
While Rondell is looking for the question, just to kind of throw this out there, we're not asking everyone here to come to our project and buy our next stream. We're not asking you to come to our exchange and buy our token. But what we are asking is to just listen to us, read our white paper. We really do believe that for blockchain to be fully adopted and to streamline mass adoption of blockchain, we need these voids fixed, right? We need these accountability issues. We need this no rugging. We need to not lose $30 billion in hacks, right? We know that this is an issue with blockchain. We know that this is hemorrhaging the mass adoption of blockchain. We just want everyone out there to even just come to our community, ask the hard questions. Our community is diehard NXT because they realize that we're actually fixing what is wrong with blockchain, and we're starting with the foundation, right? We're not just starting with, let's launch this simple smart contract and make some money. We're starting from the root of the blockchain itself, and we're going to build on top of that and fix what is wrong with this space. So just come over to our community, ask the tough questions, read our white paper. You don't even have to read it. We made it even easier. Just listen to it. Yeah, just learn what we're doing and spread the word of permissioned blockchains. Not even just NXT technologies, just fixing blockchains in general.
Would it
Thank
be
you.
appropriate to call your chain like a KYC blockchain?
Yeah, this is
Because
safe.
it needs a
No,
I,
KYC.
I, I
safe
think
haven
that
blockchain.
I think how early we are with what we're doing. It sounds funny, but I guarantee you next year everyone's gonna be like, "Hey, to build on our chain, you got to be KYC'd."
I
And
think
to me,
like people can relate to KYC than the word permission because they're thinking, what's blockchain? What's permissionless? What trustless?
yeah,
What's that?
yeah. I mean, I hate to say it's more secure than anybody, and I don't want to compare myself to Ethereum or these other chains out there.
Mhm.
We just want to do something community driven that's right and put a real business model behind it and not be here, fly by night. Oh my gosh, what
Mhm.
happened to these guys? No, we want to build something that we believe in. I want to believe in my project. I want to show, hey, look at what we've done and look at what we're building. And I'm not here to hide. None of us are. We put our names and our businesses and our education all on the line to make a project that's sustainable.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
the team here at NXT Technologies, we truly believe in blockchain as, a transformative technology for the whole world, right? It's such a disruptive technology when you're looking at even just storing data, right? Like if I'm applying for a loan and we have a digital identity that's decentralized and I control everything about myself, then maybe I will give that bank for that certain time being, I'll give them my identity to look at my age and see if that I'm whatever, they don't need to know my health records. But right now, when you look at the centralized system, they know all of those things, right? Because that's what's out through the government databases, right? So no one has control of their data. We truly believe in blockchain, and we really want it to become mass adopted. But there are major issues with blockchain right now. And again, we're just trying to fix them, and we want to educate the whole community and just everyone in the world and say and have them feel comfortable with adopting blockchain and saying, oh hey, this is much better for everyone to be able to control their data this is much better for people to control their finance and actually earn more rewards. So it's silly to me when I think about it, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh, thanks, Bradley.
I have
Ron, yep,
I got a
go for
question
it.
for
You
you.
got a
Oh,
question?
I think it's from Dusty Bagwalter. He says partnerships and collaborations are the backbone in making every project more widespread. Can you list some of your partners with us? So so just like we've been I guess talking about throughout this hour, partners. There's different types of partners that I see. I look at our partners as the enterprise that decides to build on our layer one, or they want to build a side chain. I look at a partner of that as that developer that wants to be on a project that is more about the technology and not about the hype. And then another partner for me would be um, uh, a co-branded project. Like I have a buddy that has a metaverse and he's doing very well. He's invested tons of money in it, and it's probably one of the best ones I've seen out there. And I know him. I believe in his project. He's transparent. He's fair. It's clean. That's a partner that I would like to have. Um, Everyone has asked me, are you guys going to do NFT marketplaces and things like that? I'm not in the business of building an NFT marketplace, but I am in the business of partnering with you, powering a marketplace. Maybe the marketplace needs a certain amount of storage or AWS cloud storage or our validator next streams. And if we can be assistants to that, I would love to be the engine that powered XYZ's metaverse. Or you're doing something in Oculus and you need 14 validators, and it needs to be scalable and you need some storage. I'd love to be that one to divert the protocol for that solution. So those are how I think of three different partners. I think of them of the enterprise, that developer, and a partner is in a business partnership, not just the enterprise as the service.
Wonderful. Bradley, do you got anything to add?
No,
Any
no.
ending thoughts? Okay.
Honestly, I think we covered everything here. I would love to talk more about it, but
It's like 3 a.m.
my
over there and
dog's
he's got
barking at me
COVID.
now. So
I wish I
3 a.m.
could
in
drag
COVID.
this on a little longer. I think my
but
back end staff is gonna come at me.
All good,
yeah,
brother. All good. I appreciate
You
it.
can always
You know,
follow up on Twitter Space.
yeah, and one thing I just want to, I mean, if I'm going to leave on this, I just want everybody here to understand how passionate, not just me, my team is. My team is passionate. I've known my team for years. Everybody that's our mods, and I've known them from on projects for so long. My marketing guy, he's head of marketing. We haven't touched on marketing in our marketing rollout, but he's got 28 years in the marketing game. He's ran huge companies, very, very, very well versed on chain marketing. He's got the green light and the gas pedal. He's gonna start pushing. We're gonna go after not the traditional marketing that doesn't do anything. We got a TV show that we're producing that's coming out next month. It's not an NXT show. It's its own unbiased crypto show, and it's two analysts that talk all things crypto, from you name it, from how to get a trust wallet and what is trust wallet, all the way down to a DAG and DApp and DApps and they I mean the show went on hiatus, but we talked about Celsius, we talked about Three Arrows, all kinds of small cap blue chip projects. So that show's going to come on, and NXT has a lifetime partnership deal with them. So every time the show comes on, you're going to hear sponsored by NXT Technologies, and that's kind of how I'm going to bring more value to the project. I've been a television producer for many years. So, the show's already, the set's done, the show's already been produced, the past. We're just going to reignite it again starting next year, 2023, yes.
Wonderful. Ron, Bradley, thank you very much for making time today. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you. For everyone who's listening in, please go check out their website, check out their white paper. If you don't want to read, they got an audio version, free audio book, just free like that. Check out their new technology. It's quite innovative. And they have a show coming up soon. So how will viewers be able to find information on the show?
So if you hit our Telegram, come join our Telegram. You have all the information there. As soon as the show's ready for our first episode, of course, it won't be an NXT episode. It'll be an unbiased episode. As soon as that show's ready, I'll post it in our chat, and then I'll reach out to you and I'll send you a copy as well.
All right, wonderful. So definitely to go check it out, guys. It was a pleasure, Ron, Bradley. Hopefully I get an opportunity to speak with you guys again.
Thank you very much for having us, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
It was a pleasure. See ya.
Have a good one. Ciao.
Bye.